Back in the studio again. Welcome to Catch the Vision, where purpose-driven leaders share how they turn their calling into a real-world mission. I'm your host, Kevin D. Williams, and today, in the building, and it's about time, because this brother, we've been working on getting him in here over a month and a half, but I get it. I get it. When you're productive, you're productive. But we're going to be diving into a conversation that blends legacy, leadership, and financial literacy. So I guess Chris Ziegler is more than just an insurance agent. And I'm going to let him share with you what he called himself. But I say he's a strategist helping families create long-term wealth and financial protection. As the founder of the Chris Ziegler Allstate Agency, he's built one of the most, and I said most respected offices in Dallas-Fort Worth area. One policy, one person, one principle at a time. Now it's time for you to get ready and hear how he went from Little Rock roots to legacy building and how you can too. So let's both catch the vision. My man, 50 grand.
Man, you trying to shortchange me a little bit. You said DFW, the DFW Metroplex, and the whole state of Texas. The whole state of Texas, Doc.
This is why you sit here. So anytime the correction need to be made, it will be made. I know it will.
And you know I will.
So Chris, we know that you are originally from Arkansas, Little Rock.
Right.
First of all, just kind of walk us through, like, what was life for you growing up in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Well, life for me growing up in Little Rock, Arkansas was amazing. Like I said, even being here in the Metroplex last year in August made 35 years.
Really?
35 years. In fact, people always ask me, they ask me to this day, where you're from? I always say Little Rock. And then they say, but where you live here? Not telling where I live here, but Little Rock's always going to be home.
Right.
So, yes, sir.
Right.
But grew up in Little Rock right there, kind of central Little Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Went to elementary school at Williams Elementary out there in West Little Rock.
Williams Magnet?
It wasn't Magnet. Back in the day when I was there. In fact, my mom was a teacher there. She's a first grade teacher there. Both of my parents are educators.
Okay.
Dad was a principal. Mom was a first grade teacher. She wasn't my teacher, but I was right next door. Went to Gibbs right there around the corner from my house. Grew up on Pulaski Street right there by the Dunbar Recreation Center. Went to Pulaski Heights for middle school. Went to Dunbar for junior high school, and then went to Little Rock Hall High Warriors. You know about that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm a graduate from Little Rock Hall.
Yes, sir.
But now, Chris, because I think it's important for people to know, especially if they're not from Arkansas, but if you ever visit Arkansas, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but Dunbar is a historic school as well, because it was founded by Paul Lawrence Dunbar. Am I correct?
Well, I know it was founded by Lawrence Dunbar, but it was named after him. But like you said, it is a historical landmark there, because back in the day, people know about Little Rock Central, of course, but people don't realize all the African-American, Black students, Negroes, whatever we want to say these days. they all went to Dunbar, you know, and they, had a strong presence there until this day. Even like my parents, then, of course, later on, Horace Mann came along, but they still have a strong following now where they still do high school reunions. And
the alumni.
The alumni. Yeah. It's very strong. I mean, I grew up with that, too. And that was amazing for me, too. Like I said, parents been educators, went to church right there around the corner, Mount Pleasant Baptist Church and Ward Chapel, AME, on Hanger Hill on the east side, had those roots right there, too. Kind of a little African Methodist, Episcopal background, as well as, the Baptist background as well.
So after high school, I mean, was college was college nothing but an option for you, or did you want to do something different? Like, what was the next steps after high school?
Oh, most definitely. In my family, that's a expectation to go to college. In fact, I went to college. I got my bachelor's degree, and I'm probably one of the least educated people in my family. Most people in my family have, advanced degrees, but that was my goal, to go to college. Wanted to go to HBCU first and foremost. Okay. And ended up going to Grambling State. Got two phenomenal institutions right there in Arkansas. In fact, you got Philander Smith College with Philander Smith University now, which is a 5-minute walk from my house. I could walk up there in 5 minutes. Yeah, a 5-minute walk from the house. And then UAPB, the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff. It was only about a 35, 40-minute drive away. So I wanted to get away. And did my college visits, took advantage of that, had my parents taking me around to different schools, the different HBCUs, and I ended up going to Grambling. In fact, most of my family all went to HBCUs. My dad went to 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐸, which is UAPB now. My mom went to Talladega College, which is in Alabama. My older sister ended up finishing up at UAPB, and my little sister went to Tuskegee.
So you all are HBCU strong.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. They had a cousin went to Morehouse and Spelman and some of the other schools as well.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So being in college is typically you're going to be a part of some type of Greek organization. Was that ever something that you were interested in?
Oh, most definitely.
What were you interested in?
What do you think I was understanding? Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. You know, when I went to Grambling, and oddly enough, a lot of my family members are either Omegas and Alphas, but I had always had a hankering of wanting to be a noob. In fact, when I got to Grambling, I knew a lot of the Omegas, I knew a lot of Alphas there, but I knew 𝐾 was what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't really know any Kappas on the yard, but the thing was, I knew that's what I wanted to do. My friends that were Alphas and Omegas said, "Hey, you know, your make line's gonna be tough." They said, "You don't know any Kappas." I said, "That's what I want to do, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be." And I'm a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Played Spring '86.
So you've been
Gamma
with the fraternity how long now?
Next year be 40 years.
Really, Chris?
40 years, yes, sir.
God, no. Okay. Now, during the time you were in college, did you join the military? And if you did, like, what made you join the military?
What made me join the military? As you know, I'm gonna keep it 100.
Got to
Keep it 100.
Okay.
Having a little too much fun.
Really? So you so the grades were dropping?
No, grades weren't dropping.
Okay.
Grades were good, but started off with 18 hours. Like when I first pledged, I had 18 hours. My mom's in the sorority, the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And my dad's non-Greek, but they understood, okay, he's pledging. He had 18 hours. He's dropping down to 12. Didn't like it, but cool. The next semester, I said, I got my girl. I said, I got the frat, and I got school. I said, something's messing this equation up. So let me drop some classes. So that wasn't a winning recipe. I did that 2 semesters in a row. But as you know my wife, Connie. We're married for 34 years, been together for 39, started dating our sophomore year in college. In fact, started dating her before I started pledging. And that's how long we've been together. Of course, I'm still in the fraternity. But that's what kind of preempted me to go into the military, because I said, let me see something I can do to kind of get myself back on track, and end up going to the Army, going to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And like I always tell people, you wish you would have never gone to the military, or you wish you would have gone straight through. I always tell people, all the experiences I had have led me to the point to where I am now. So I just, I relish everything I went through. And it was funny because Connie called my parents and was like, "Can Chris please come back to school?" And my folks were like, "You have to get some things together," and I did. So being in the military, Chris, did that also work towards like paying the tuition to be in school? Yes.
So that was a bonus too.
That was a bonus too, because my parents were paying my tuition, when I first went to college. They were paying for it. But, after I got myself together and got back on track, I said, hey, I'm going to take that responsibility and financial burden off of them and do it myself. And that was one of the main reasons I went to the military. Plus, I wanted to serve, because my dad was an Air Force veteran. I had some relatives. My uncle is an Army veteran. So I wanted to go the route to serve my country and to kind of get back on track and to explore some different things as well.
So, Chris, from what I'm gathering from your conversation, who you are today has something to do with both your mom and dad.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Mom, dad, grandparents, aunts and uncles, like I said, have a strong background with people who are educators. And that was a blessing for me too, having that growing up. Like I said, it was an expectation, to go to college. But just, the community in Little Rock, in the church, the members that we had there, had all the positive influences there that we had, in the community, which was beneficial for me as well. Sometimes people are not exposed to those kind of things. I give you a prime example. My freshman year at Grambling, they had a class called Lyceum. Essentially what Lyceum was, it kind of taught you about cultural type things. And me growing up like I did, we weren't rich, we weren't poor, but we did okay for ourselves. Like I said, I guess don't really have a middle class anymore, but I guess we kind of middle class if you want to kind of put a label on something. But I was always exposed to all those different things, kind of going to plays and, concerts, things of that magnitude. And then, when I went to Grambling, like, why are they making us take this class? But it was a blessing for those people who didn't have those experiences, because you have people who came from some of your bigger inner city areas.
Right.
You came to Grambling, and some of those people in those rural areas where they weren't exposed to that. So, me, I knew how to tie a tie at a young age. But some of those guys and young ladies who came there, like some of the guys that came there, had never worn a tie. Growing up, in Little Rock and going to church, back in the day, you wore your suit and you had your tie and everything. So that was just something I guess I just took for granted. And then that's one of the blessings about going to the HBCU. They teach you about all aspects of life, culturally, and how to deal with mainstream America. Of course, mainstream America meaning Anglo-America. And a lot of times people don't realize it, that not saying people who go to PWIs don't, but people who go to HBCUs a lot of times are more equipped to handle with mainstream America than people who go to a PWI.
Well, I know that to be true because most of your Fortune 500 companies, if they want to understand how diversity works in the workplace, then they're going to go to HBCUs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, before you got into the business of insurance, what were you doing prior to that?
Prior to that, I did a couple of things. I first got out of college, I was in food service.
Okay.
Started off at Pizza Hut as a manager.
Okay.
And they're not around anymore. But then I said, hey, if I'm going to be in the restaurant business, I'm going to go full service. I went to Bennigan's. Everybody remembers Bennigan's back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was at Bennigan's, did that. And then I got a wild hair and said, hey, I want to utilize my degree. And I actually went to Allstate in the mid-90s and was working in underwriting.
Okay, so you understood the back end processes and stuff like that.
Yeah, the back end processes. And the thing was, at that particular time, I was doing extremely well. But even one of the managers said, he said, Chris, you're a salesperson in underwriting, because I had a heart for the people. And underwriting, a lot of times, is different. Being an agent now, being on the other side,
right? It's
a lot different back then. When I was the underwriting back in the day, we truly had the autonomy to actually review cases and look at it. And I'm looking at your situation, and I'll be the one to make that decision on what needs to be done. Now you have underwriters, but it's a lot of it's automated. They kind of punch stuff into a system, and then whatever the system kicks out, it is what it is.
Okay.
But being in underwriting back in the day, I actually thought about being an agent back then. But what happened was they were not agent friendly. So I said, hey, this is not the route for me to go.
But do you think that was pretty much insurance wide? No one was agent friendly? I
couldn't say. I just know at that particular juncture, that's what I was looking at. But then I ended up going into pharmaceutical sales with Merck Pharmaceuticals, where started off as professional representative, where I worked my way up to being a cardiovascular metabolic specialty rep.
So you always challenging yourself.
Oh yeah.
You never stay content where you are. You always want to elevate.
I always want to elevate. And then I got the best elevator behind me, my wife. So she sees my skill set, and she's been my backbone for a lot of different things. So in fact, she's the one who encouraged me to do that. She's like, babe, you're already doing the job of a special rep anyway. Go for it. Went for it, got it. The rest is history.
I always say, Chris, a man with a vision needs a woman with directions. So yeah, I definitely can see that. So you in this profession of pharmaceuticals, what's happening now, and how did you end up, getting into insurance?
Well, I ended up getting into insurance was I actually got laid off.
Okay,
so,
well that'll make.
But I actually that kind of make you go different directions as well. But the thing was, they had been laying off since like 5 or 6 years prior.
Really?
And ironically, when they first
in the pharmaceutical, I thought we all need something to.
You need it, but like you said, hey, they can get more for less.
Okay.
And what some of these pharmaceutical companies are doing now, going to these contract companies. But I mean, when I initially. Because I'm going to tell you what happened initially when they first started talking about, we had a CEO that came in and was referring to us as human capital. So when he was referring to us as human capital, I was telling some of my friends, I said, they about to start people can be on the chopping block. That's they look at us as widgets, and people like, why are you being like that? You being negative? I said, no. There's a view referencing you as a human capital. That means they don't have you as a value for you. And let's fast forward 6 or 7 months later, that's what they started doing. And ironically, this might sound crazy, but God has a plan for you. I was actually praying to get laid off.
Really?
I was praying to get laid off.
Now, Chris, I've never heard nobody say, God is your will. Go ahead and let them let me off.
Well, I'm going to tell you why.
Go ahead.
I'm always thinking,
okay.
I had some friends who had been let go from other companies, and they were getting severance packages. So you got a severance package, which is going to probably be, as long as I had been there, probably about a year, year and a half to 2 years worth of salary, get another job, bank that money. But, the thing was, like I said, God has a plan, and his timing is always, of course, the best time because it is his timing. And Connie and I actually opened up a salon suite. So we opened a couple of businesses over that time frame.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And one thing about being in pharmaceutical sales, that's probably the closest to being an entrepreneur without being an entrepreneur is being in pharmaceutical sales.
Because you got to have critical thinking,
management of territory,
closing skills,
consulting. And like I tell people now, I'm not an insurance salesperson. I'm a consultant.
Okay.
Because
and so tell me the difference between not being an insurance salesperson and more or less consultant.
Well, a salesperson, like you said, they just trying to sell you something.
Okay.
With no intent of really having a true understanding of what they're doing. They just trying to push.
Get that transaction.
Turn that transaction. I'm a consultant, so I'm gonna try to do what's best for the customer.
Okay.
And make sure I understand all the parameters of what's gonna be necessary for them. Me being a consultant too, what differentiates me, from most agents is that I understand how the home buying process works, from the mortgage standpoint to the realtors to title companies. A lot of agents don't understand that because I understand DTI, which is debt to income ratios. So I know the different things to ask.
So you're factoring all these things when you're looking at somebody or when you're dealing with a client to write a policy.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to make an assessment and to make sure I put them in the best, situation for themselves. Because once I get them in a home, I want them to stay in a home. Sometimes people with salespeople, transactional, they don't care if you stay in or you go out. So if I'm putting you there, and I'm this seriously, my thing is this: I'm gonna give you what the customer needs, not what they want. And I would fail sales 101 because sales 101 says give the customer what they want. I'm not gonna do that. If what they want doesn't line up and marry with the need, I will actually professionally tell them, say, hey, why don't you go look at some other opportunities or options, because I am not going to give somebody who has a $600,000 house and give them $300,000 worth of coverage, which some agents will do that.
Really?
Yes, sir.
And so when it's time to file a claim, they are like below
where they need to be.
level.
Yeah, exactly. Prime example. And it's been a while, but I don't know if you remember back in 2015, the day after Christmas, it was Rockwall, I think Mesquite and Garland, when they had that big tornado that came through. And you have people, so that's 2015, 10 years ago, you're still having people who have not recovered from that.
Really?
Still have not recovered from that.
Financially,
or would not even be able to rebuild their house. Because if you have a $600,000 house, you have $300,000 worth of coverage.
Right.
You have $300,000, but you don't get that other $300,000 from. So the thing I tell people, then some people didn't have the money, so they couldn't do it. Or some people had to exhaust a 401k.
God, dog.
Use their life insurance policies and other avenues to do that was not geared towards that. So let's put them in a bad situation. So my thing, I do property and casualty, which means like home, auto, your toys, your boats and renters. But my strong 1B are financial products as well. So I try to get the whole gamut. Try to make sure people are set up from their home, auto, to their financial, whether it be life insurance, 401k, or any financial things as well.
Okay. Now, you just recently, here in 2025, celebrated 10 years of service with the 𝐾𝐨 Allstate agency.
Yes, sir.
That's not easy. And it's definitely not easy being a person being Black.
Right.
How is that so? How is that so to last in that industry that long, Chris?
Well, The thing is, once again, having my background, like I tell people all the time, my background contributed to me being successful to where I am today. Because all those experiences, whether it's the military, getting experience in the restaurant industry, getting experience, underwriting with Allstate, having all those different things catapulted me and put me in a position to be ready for that. That's why I always tell people, your time is your time. Like I said, God has a plan. He has a blueprint. And like I said, all those things, not to say I would not have been successful, but it made it a lot easier for me to do it because I did have the skill set already in place to do that. But like I said, just the support of like my family, my wife, my parents, my father-in-law was extremely instrumental in me, getting the agency because it was funny. Like I said, my wife and I started dating. I saw him when we were in college, and he had always done my taxes and everything. And like to this day, he's deceased now, God rest his soul. But to the time he died, he used to do my taxes, and my buddies and friends would say, "You let your father-in-law see how much he make?" I said, "Most definitely." I said, "That dude has put me in a position financially, and from a standpoint of mentorship, to where has catapulted me into being a good place." So I said, "Most definitely," and kind of switching subject a little bit. I think sometimes as a Black community, that's the problem we have. A lot of other communities, they share knowledge, they share information, and sometimes with us in the African American community,
we hold on to it.
We hold on to it, and that's one thing I'm really big on is making sure I'm letting people know. I have given other agents my blueprint, my business plan. People are like, "You let somebody see your business plan?" I said, "I'm being arrogant and cocky, but I'm very confident." I said, "I can give you my playbook, but I'm still gonna win the game." And I will share all that stuff with them. I mentor people from other companies. I'm mentoring somebody from State Farm and Farmers right now.
Really?
And somebody's like, "They're your competitor." I said, "It's enough business out there for everybody."
That's true.
And I said, I believe in the 2 C's. I believe in collaboration over competition.
Right.
And I think that's huge. And like you said, we got so many people out here in the DFW Metroplex, in the whole state of Texas. There's enough business out there for everybody.
So, Chris, I think and I didn't even know this, but let me hold on before I get to that question. I when you were talking about mentoring and stuff like that, it made me think about something that you share with me. You don't even know this, but I'm gonna share it with you now.
Is it a good share?
Well, you about to find out because I mean, it is what it is on here. You said, "Well, come on out to the house, man, and we can, sell up with the check." And I said, "Well, Chris, this is going to take me about an hour and a half to get out there." He said, "An hour and a half?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You said, well, I'm looking at 50 minutes on my on my map." I said, "Chris, I'm not taking no toll. I'm not finna spend no money on no toll." He said, "Man, I'm gonna tell you something. Real business people," and this is exactly what you said to me. You said real business people value their time.
Yep.
And so if you truly value your time, Kevin, you can hop on that toll. Do you know that stuck with me? Now, there are times where I just, fool with the traffic. But Chris, when I know it's about my time being there, I will hop on that toll.
Yes, indeed. Most definitely.
So I just want
the tollway king, baby. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want you to know that what you said has really resonated with me, man. And I'm like, he's right. Why am I sitting in this traffic, fighting traffic because I want to save $10 or $12?
Yep.
I'm losing time.
And that time could be costing you money.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so now I'm like, no, it's auto draft. But I want to circle back to building the agency from scratch, which you shared with the everything. Your experience is what led to being in business for 10 years. But you walked into an agency that you basically had no customers. So how were you able to build such a customer base from scratch? That's not easy to do, Chris. Because I think what people don't realize is that most of the times when you go into an insurance agency, you typically buy the book of business, right?
Correct.
But there was nothing for you to buy, was it?
Well, it was something to buy, but I didn't want to pay what he was talking about buying it for.
And so you was willing to say, you know what, I'm just gonna
I go scratch.
Really?
I said, I'll go scratch. In fact, the wife said the same thing. Like we said, hey, we both been doing this. We've been a consultant and selling for years. We'll make this thing happen. And it was a blessing that we did start from scratch because like some agents, I don't have any kind of loans or anything to pay back.
You have no loans?
No, I don't have any loans to pay back. And that was a blessing right there too, because when you buy a book of business, usually
you loan. I mean, the bank is loaning you money to buy
loaning money. So, and you know, the way my book has grown, people are like, man, because some people think I bought a book of business because the way my book is grown and how big it is. Like I said, as they say in the country, I had 9 customers when I first started. I didn't have any customers, you know. But I mean, the thing was, I had some from the standpoint when I was in training, I was starting to get my pipeline going. Don't get it twisted.
Okay.
I mean, it was still scratch.
So you was pre-planning.
I was pre-planning.
But you still walked in there with
yeah. I was pre-planning, so I kind of
without buying a book of business.
Without buying a book of business, you know, I started pre-planning this. Even if I bought a book of business, you still got to bring in new business as well.
Right.
But I was already putting, you know, the blueprint and laying the path out. So when I did get started, at least I kind of had something going. And you know, when you first start, you buy leads, and it's been a blessing for me now as well. I hadn't bought leads in over 5 years, and I've been in business for 10 because the relationship I have with mortgage companies, realtors, title companies, and just the personal referrals. You know, you refer people to me as well. In fact, you're one of my customers as well. So
I mean, my whole family.
The whole family,
me,
exactly.
My daughter.
Exactly. And I mean, you know, when you join the 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐬𝐻𝐈, it's truly a family.
It is.
It's a family. I mean, that's how I look at people as family. And just recently, and I was at the 10th anniversary celebration, got a little choked up, and I won't talk about it too much now because one of my oldest customers just recently passed, and it was tough. I said, I want to, you know, it was tough because I mean, you get close with these people. These people become family, friends.
Chris, I already know how you get close with folks. I mean, so you know what? So you don't get choked up. Let me ask you this question: you're very particular who you do business with.
Correct.
So I want you to share with people. No, seriously, Chris, I want you to share with people how you. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, I've seen you. Like I'm like, that's his best friend, and so explain this process.
I've been knowing you. Know, you're from Little Rock. I'm from Little Rock. We've known each other for, as they say, the P word, a plethora of years, a long time.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I knew what you did. We talked all the time. We hung out and did.
And we was always the same networking event.
I was the same networking events.
I didn't know, Chris, that you was like watching me from a standpoint of
from a business standpoint.
Yeah, I never
personally. I love you like a brother from a personal standpoint. But I have to tell people, business is business and friends are friends, and sometimes you have to separate the two. Now, fortunately for me, I can do both. You know, in your case, you're like, well, Chris, what took so long? I watched what you're doing. I watched the moves you were making. I saw. Like we both in Collin County Black Chamber, you know, I'm on the board. You were leading one of the leaders of the group. So I was watching how you moved and how you did different things, and you took the organization to another level. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I've been knowing Kevin for a long time. He's been doing this for a couple of years now. I said, hey, I'm gonna give him a shot. You know,
and you did because I remember the day you called me up and you said, now. I don't do business on the phone. You need to come into the office and talk. I said, okay, he about that business.
Yeah, my face to face.
Yeah,
you know,
he about that business.
Yeah.
And so what I want people to know is the day I came into Chris' office, that was over a year ago, and Chris is still our client today. And now I'm not gonna get emotional, but
you can't have 2 crybabies on here today.
I know,
Come
Chris. But I mean, I don't. So, Chris, what you don't know is that you have played a role in my life, and that's what you don't know.
Okay.
I listen to what you say. I always hear to your advice because you've been here in DFW for 34 years. I've only been here 3 years, and so if whatever you share with me, I'm gonna always take it to heart. So, I guess to say, you know, Chris is not just my client. He's my brother in Christ. I'm not Chris's PR person. I'm his brother in Christ. And so, yeah, you probably gonna have both of us up here with allergies in our eyes, but it's, you know, it's okay. It's okay. But let me pivot, put these glasses back on. And Chris, I want to ask the question. You have the most trusted agency in the
Mhm.
state of Texas. Now, I didn't
Mhm.
say DFW, I said the state of Texas. How is that possible? Because people have issues with insurance agencies
Mhm.
crapping on them,
Yep.
giving them, basically pacifying them, like you said,
Mhm.
giving them just enough of a policy so they can, make that commission. But then when it's time to file a claim,
Mhm.
that they are what I call underwater.
Mhm.
Explain that to me.
Well, a lot of people throw out the term customer service, customer service, customer service. People say it, but I actually do it. A lot of people say customer service, but they don't provide customer service. I actually look through the lens of the customer's eyes. Like I
Mhm.
said, I would fail sales 101. Give them what they want. I'm not gonna give you what you need. And people say, don't think from your pocket, think from theirs. But see, a lot of times, a lot of with this sell people who sell, they're looking for their pocket,
Mhm.
whether it be for life insurance. That's why you tell people with this life insurance, even home policies and any insurance, they're looking for their commission. And there's been times even you being my friend when I was talking to you, I said, "Hey, shop around and make sure this is
You
gonna be
sure
the."
did. You sure did.
And most people are not gonna do that,
You sure
And
did.
I think the fact that I'm sincere and I have integrity, that's huge. And my reputation has been good, and I just have a great network. And I'm a member of, I say, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, but like the Divine Nine, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated,
NARAB.
NARAB.
NARAB South, NARAB
Yep.
North.
Yeah, and then they're South North, and then I'm a part of the Asian Association of Real Estate Brokers. I'm a part of different organizations. Delta Sigma Theta. I do a lot of stuff with the Alphas, the Omegas. But all of them, Sigmas, Iotas. I mean, make sure I didn't leave anybody out, my friend, and the Zetas. I mean, all of them have been instrumental in my business and just the community as a whole. Church members. A lot of times they know what I do. They'll reach out to me. So the fact that what you see with me is what you get.
Right.
I joke and clown 99.9% of the time, but I'm about that business. But that's just my heart. And one thing too, talking about being my heart, a lot of people some people don't even realize I'm an insurance agent. Some people think I have a nonprofit because of all the
Chris,
all the community service stuff I do. Yeah.
Chris, I mean, rarely do insurance agencies, and I mean, it's no shade. I mean, it is what it is. But you got a couple of drives to go on.
Yep.
And you don't do it. You didn't do it like, I'm just going to do this to make it look good, and then I'm not going to do this no more. How long have you? Tell us the drives that you do, and how long you been doing those.
So, once again, I use my agency as my platform to be able to catapult to do the community service that I do. In the month of January, I do the Code and Close drive in the first quarter.
Right.
Second quarter, I do the personal hygiene
Right.
products, cleaning supplies, and non-perishable food items. The second quarter, third quarter, I do the backpacks, a lot of back to school type stuff as well.
Right.
And then, of course, in the fourth quarter, I repeat what I did in the second quarter, the non-perishable food items, cleaning supplies, and personal hygiene products again. And like I always tell people, always do what you're going to do for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I said people need help all year round. They need help all year round. So that's why I make it a concerted effort to make sure I'm doing something all year round. And to your point, when I do the Code and Close drive, I don't do it and say, oh, once it's over, January's over. I literally get stuff every month.
Wow.
So, some people, when they do things, they're like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. I probably get just as much stuff in the springtime and probably summer because people are trying to get rid of stuff,
Right.
and it's quality stuff. I mean, sometimes you give me stuff, brand new stuff. People give me brand new stuff they have 4 and 5 years with tags on them still.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anytime I get those kind of items like that, I try to, get them to the people who need them.
Right.
One organization, the Service of Hope with Dr. Prescott, they do a phenomenal job, In fact, he's my fraternity brother as well.
Okay.
But I do stuff with Frisco Family Services, the
Right.
Samaritan Inn, and Streetside Showers, which is a group that actually does. They have a mobile shower thing that they go around,
Really?
and they for people who are homeless or they say unhoused, they go around. So, and and I've helped them out, and I've seen the difference it makes in those people's lives. I mean, some of these people had shower for like weeks, up on end.
Right.
But to see the looks on their faces when they get that shower and they kind of get cleaned up, spruced up, kind of gives them an extra, kick up, and they have clothes there too that they provide for them as well. So, and I mean that's just huge. And I think all people need to use all the resources that they have in order to do that. And then, like I say, I partner with different organizations and some of these banking institutions. Of course, when I go in these banking institutions, I talk about my Allstate agency, but when I'm there, people ask me, they say, well, Chris, how do you get them to be sponsors and support? Do you differentiate? Do you separate it out? I said, when you're in front of those people, which these are some great organizations, I said, you have to hit them with everything that you got.
Right.
I talk about the 𝐷𝐸𝐾 agency Allstate. I talk about �NARAB, which is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, which is the largest trade organization for African Americans in the country.
Chris, if you would, real quick,
Yes,
give
sir.
them the understanding about NARAB. There's a lot of people don't even know about NARAB.
Well, NARAB, once again, I said, is the National Association for Real Estate Brokers. And we call ourselves realtors because people don't realize, and I don't want to give the exact dates, but we as African Americans or people of color, we're able to actually be a part of the National Association for Realtors until like the early 70s. So you just think about this organization was started in 1947, and it took all of those years before you could actually become a member of the National Association for Real Estate Brokers. But what differentiates NARAB, once again, we call ourselves realtors because it encompasses anybody who touches the home buying process. Kevin can do it with a team vision. It could be a person who cleans houses, a person who does insurance. Naturally, people think about mortgage companies, the real estate and title. But I mean, somebody who does photography, even like Sammy with his company, doing things like podcasts and things like that.
Right.
Anybody who can touch it in any shape or form can be considered a realtor under the NARAB umbrella.
Wow.
Your home inspectors. I mean,
Because all of
name a few.
All of it plays a part in the home
buying
process. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So,
and one thing I always like to tell people
Go
all the time, people need to realize, I always say, I hope I don't offend anybody, but I always tell people, the insurance people are I call them the bastard child of the home buying process. People always wait until the end to do that. But literally and seriously, all joking aside, we should probably be one of the first people you call when you start looking at a home because people don't realize it when you're looking at a home in certain areas. I've seen deals almost fall through because what happens is they'll put the insurance at the end, and you heard me mention DTI, debt to income ratio, and that might be a situation that kind of kicks them out of that home buying process and helps the realtor as well to make sure they're guiding that person in the right direction where they need to go to make sure they go into an area that's catered to their financial needs. It helps the realtor out, it helps their customer out. And then once again, too, when the mortgage person is trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together,
right,
it helps them too to make sure that they get in the best situation for the organization, not the organization, but for that particular client.
Right. So, Chris, what if someone says, "Well, Chris, it sounds like your portfolio of realtors and mortgage professionals. It sounds like you're good. So
I'm never good.
So Chris, are you still open to new collaborations with realtors and mortgage professionals?
New collaborators, new customers. Like Rick Ross says, every day I'm hustling.
Okay.
And see, I think that's another thing too. Some agents, when they get to a point to where I am, they kind of kick back, and I just stay on that grind. And the thing is, it doesn't feel like work. I probably work more now than I did when I was in these other industries. But I enjoy doing
I can
every
tell
day.
that. Yeah.
And the reason I enjoy doing what I'm doing, I love people.
Yeah.
And I love running my mouth. So,
so you might as well get paid for it, right?
Yeah, I got the best of both worlds.
Wow. Now, the question that I have is, in this industry that you are in, are there a lot of, blacks, minorities? And if so, great. But if not, I mean, how can we, make it better?
Well, it's not a lot, of course. And I'll tell you, like most people, when I got into the insurance industry, I think most people wake up or go to college. When I went to college, I didn't think about being an insurance agent, And that's one thing I really emphasize to people. Look at other opportunities that are out there.
Okay.
I was in pharma for a whole bunch of years, and I told people there's a lot of other things out there where you can make some good money. And when people say, weren't you making some good money in pharmaceutical sales? I said, yeah, I was making good money then, but I'm making great money now doing what I love, and it's mine. And I think that's paramount right there, that I'm really doing something that's going to be a legacy for my family as well. So I plan on being around for a while, but if for some reason God's plan isn't for me to be there, I have a legacy to leave to my daughter, and her family. You know, I got my granddaughter now. So that's the thing we need to focus on too as African Americans is, you know, wealth management.
Right.
You know, from a financial standpoint, our Anglo counterparts right here, and we're pretty much right there. But from a wealth standpoint, we're here, they're there, and we're here. So we need to kind of close that gap from a wealth standpoint, you know.
So let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna circle back to, you know, the wealth gap, because I had the chance to hear you speak, and I'm gonna bring that up. But when it comes to, first of all, people don't know that you low tech. Okay. So share that story with them, Chris, about, because I mean, now I want to get this clear that Chris was still doing well, but for some reason you want to continue to improve.
Oh yeah.
So talk to us about that.
Man, I knew I was doing well. I've been doing well, but I know where we are in today's society with social media, all this IT and different things like that. My friends tease me, call me low tech, no tech. But the thing is, I know to get the people around me who understand those type of things, i.e., I have some fraternities and friends who help me with my IT stuff. Social media, you my guy, you know. And I mean, I have a business that was already thriving, but then since I brought you on board, it's taking it to another level, you know, from that standpoint. So that's the thing you have to. I think another P word people are using this day. You got to pivot. You know? That's two P word. Had plethora. Now we're gonna do. Get the P. We might come up with a third one here in a minute. But that's the second one. You know, you have to pivot. So, and I realized that, and I've said, okay. And I watched you, and I watched different people. People have always approached me about that. And although I say I'm low tech, I still know 2 + 2. I might not know it's 4, but I know it ain't 5.
Right.
You know? So when some people were talking to me, I'm like, okay, this doesn't sound right.
Right. And you know what I love about you, Chris, is that you go, hey, I got a meeting with this company and I need you on that webinar. I'm like, no problem. And
it's you, my office man, Sharice, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the reason I think I've been successful as well, is from the standpoint, get people around you.
Yeah.
And when I hire people or bring people on board with me, I think I'm extremely smart and sharp. I can try to get people who are 300 million times sharper and smarter than me, like my office man, Sharice. I said, that's
cold-blooded.
That's what I'm saying. I said, to be gender neutral, that's my second or right-hand man, my right-hand person.
Yeah.
So, you know, but, you know, she's an instrumental part of my organization. You're instrumental in my organization. You know, I have my 6 and 63 license, but I got a guy on my staff, Marlon Carter, who's down in Houston. He's my
financial
guy, you know, sharp. I even teased. I said, you pretty sharp for the Alpha. Man, he went to HBCU as well. He went to Texas Southern University down in Houston. You know, he's a Louisiana boy, but he went to Texas Southern and everything. And he's that brother sharp, you know.
Wow.
And like once again, I don't try to get people who are clones of me. I try to get people who have different perspectives, but have the same mindset and goal of we're trying to get to a plateau in a higher place, but maybe present or lend a different perspective than what I have. And I think that's what's made me successful as well.
Chris, the other thing I love about you is that when there's something that you are maybe unsure of, or you feel like it should be done wrong, I even like how you approach. He's like, man, you know, I know I'm behind on this technology, and I'm looking at what.
But hey, I'm catching up though. So I'm learning. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. I'm learning.
But you know, I'm just reading this. But shouldn't it go like this? I'm like, well, Chris, here's a reason why, you know, we wrote it that way. You're like, okay. All right, we'll ride with it. Now,
you know, I'm a challenge you.
Yeah,
you know?
but if I get some feedback that I don't like, we're gonna take that down. I'm like, Chris, no problem. But I just like how you have never approached me like hostile about something.
I mean, once again, I watched you for all those years, for a couple of years, you know, because you were kind of just getting started.
Yeah.
I said, let me see what he does. Make sure he doesn't mess somebody else up before he gets to me. But no.
So learn from that mistake, right? Yeah.
But, you know, but I was getting feedback. They said, man, he's hitting the ground running. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give my man Kevin a shot. And that's what I do. I get people in place. I give you the content I want you to put out there for me. And I give you the idea and you run with it.
Yep.
And then but you kick it back to me. Is this what you want? Boom.
Yep.
And that's why I got you on board. I want people around me. If I have an idea, if I have a vision, which I have a lot of ideas and visions, who can help me bring them to fruition. And you've been instrumental in that. Like even like Sharice, a lot of times I was like, hey, take a look at this before we send it over to Kevin.
Yep.
My wife, now she's a regional director for her company. A lot of people think, I said, my wife, she works and she has a big position herself, you know, but she's an instrumental part of my basically, I said she has 2 jobs. She helps me out with the Allstate stuff. She looks at stuff for me on the back end as well, you know. So, and vice versa, you know, with her. I mean, I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit as well.
That's cool.
Like I said, going back to when we were in college. So I was in college, 19 years old, and I'm 59 years old now. We were 19 when we first started dating. And literally, when we first started dating, first 2 or 3 days, we were having conversations about where we thought we should be later on in life. And to see those different things come to fruition has been a blessing. I mean,
wow, Chris.
And I said, that's my best friend. I mean, she's been with me from, they say you ride or die, your day one. I said, we've been together since we were 19 years old. And basically older teenagers, but teenagers.
Wow.
You know.
Shout out to 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭. And Connie, let me tell you why I'm giving you this shout out. Now, you know, I'll be want to get Chris involved in everything, but let me tell you what he always stopped me at. He said, before I commit, I need to talk to the wife.
Talk to the boss.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
sir.
shout out to you, 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭, for, you know, just always keeping your hands around him and keeping him protected. And I mean, I know those hands are hands of God, but I just want to give you a shout out, 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭. So Chris, this is where we.
Next month, you gonna come over me next week? I'm not next week. Are you coming with me next month to Nashville for the Allstate?
So we need to talk about that off the podcast because I got some good stuff to share with you.
Okay. I'm trying to get you on the hook to commit.
I know.
So people see this, they say that he
to answer the question, yes, I'm gonna be there. So yes, and so if for whatever reason I don't show up, he has the right to blast me on social media, and he will do it. I want to talk about, I think it was a couple of months ago. This is September. It had to been in July, Chris. You invited me to this big networking event. I've never been to a networking event like this before. And you said, hey man, just, you know, I want people to know who you are. So this network. But I didn't know I knew you were a sponsor. I didn't know you were going to be speaking. This is when I said I'm sold out to the Chris Ziegler agency. You opened up and you talked about, you said, normally I would talk to you about auto and home. But today I've been led to talk to you all about something totally different. And you said a lot of you don't know that I have a granddaughter. And when I can't remember exactly if you said from birth or maybe a month or 2 after, you said you got her a policy,
correct,
that would build cash value, and you said of time. By the time she turns either between the ages of 18 or 21, there will be enough in that cash value for her to make a decision for college. Make a decision to maybe purchase a vehicle, or make a decision to start a business or put a down payment on a house. Chris, I never heard a story like that. So please break that down in a way that, you know, of course, it's just, you know, no one can hold you to it, but it's just a conversation that I've never heard of that before, Chris. So please explain that piece of it. Well,
that's the thing too. There are different vehicles out there to, like I said, we talk about wealth management, and we use life insurance as one of those vehicles. A lot of times, once again, in the African-American community, sometimes people say, oh, it's creepy to get a life insurance policy on a baby or a kid. But the purpose of that is not that you think they're going to die. It's the purpose for you getting that is because it'll be a financial growth over time and over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is this: one thing about, I don't want to sound like I'm African American bashing. It's just keeping it real, because I'm talking about
this
people.
is our
I'm talking about
community,
this.
so
I'm
we
talking
see
about
it.
people.
Yeah, we see
And
it.
we just sometimes worry about the here and now. And I've even had customers of our hue, our color, say, "Well, my parents didn't leave me, or my grandparents didn't leave me nothing. I figured it out. Let them figure it out." We need to be one to make that change.
Right.
Like I said, get rid of that, as they say, that's stinking thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and let's make a change and do something for the best and leave a legacy. And once again, I told you earlier, when it comes to wealth, our Anglo counterparts here, we're here. And that's the reason they do. They take advantage of these different vehicles that are out there from a financial standpoint.
Wow.
It could be life insurance, investments and things like that. And I was doing a seminar, and a guy I know personally, Sharp, he's telling me, he said, "Well, Chris, there's some other ways that might be better than that to actually do what you're talking about." I said, "I agree with you wholeheartedly." I know this guy, he's very diligent and efficient. And I said, most people are not going to be like you when it comes to doing that.
Right.
This is kind of like a no-brainer type situation. Of course, some of the money they were going to be allocated to my granddaughter, when she is at a certain age, it's going to be predicated by how much money you put in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a decent amount in there, because my thing is this: when Papa's long gone, she still know Papa's around, because she had that
legacy.
The legacy.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do, build a legacy. I mean, I got a legacy built for my daughter as well.
And also it makes sense to say it's an honor and a privilege to be a Ziegler.
Yes, indeed. And my daughter and my son-in-law, man, they're doing a phenomenal job and doing what they're doing. And that's the thing about it too, because Connie and myself, like I said, although I kind of jacked around a little bit, my parents were paying for my school. If you can do it, but everybody can't do it. But I'm gonna give you another story. I'm gonna back up a little bit.
Okay.
Because I used to say, man, my friends, parents were getting brand new cars, You talking about, this is like in the 80s, we still driving a 73 Chevy Impala and stuff like that. But I didn't realize a lot of this stuff until later on in life, or when I got to college. It's probably when I really realized, when I got to college. I said, we weren't rich, we weren't poor, but education has always been a focal point for my family. And the thing was, we had family friends. I knew we had friends with parents who were doctors, dentists, attorneys, engineers and stuff like that. And I had some friends, parents making a lot of money. Little Rock, living out first part of some of these, what's that? Pleasant Valley.
Pleasant Valley, Edge Hill. That's old money.
That's old money. So you have people living out there. But then I had friends, because I grew up in Jack and Jill, and they said, I'm trying to find money to go to school. And I'm thinking, man, y'all got this big house, you got the pool, you got this, you got that. We didn't have that, but the big thing for my parents was they invested in me and my siblings. So that's one thing I realized too, I was just like, man, what if all these people getting all this stuff? And that's one thing I instilled in my daughter, and nephews and nieces and stuff, like, don't worry about stuff. Stuff will come. If you handle business, the other stuff will fall into place. And my daughter's doing a phenomenal job in her career. Her son-in-law, they both doing a phenomenal job. So I'm extremely proud of them as well. And that's the thing too. Just want to encourage, people, to your kids, to support them and to make sure that you put them in the best winning position that you can, so that they can thrive for years to come. Because my goal was, when my daughter finished college, was not to have any debt. Same thing for my parents. My dad didn't have any debt. He went to the military as well prior to going to college, so he could get the GI Bill, so he could pay for his education. So just try to put your kids in the best position. Some people have the mindset, when I turn 18, the kids turn 18, it's kind of like,
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
My thing is, support your kids as long as you can, if they need your help, to make sure they get to the next level and beyond.
So there's a commercial that you done that has been really, really circulating and getting a lot of attention, and it deals with no more GoFundMes. And so why do you feel so strongly that families, especially our community, we need to realize and move away from GoFundMe funeral?
Correct. Well, see, GoFundMe, that's a quick fix. And once again, if you do a life insurance policy, once again, you depending on what kind you get, it can build financial growth within that policy.
Mm-hmm.
And then too, like some of the stuff you put out there on social media for me, talking about it's already stressful to have a loved one die.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts,
Mm-hmm.
you're emotional,
Mm-hmm.
you feel the pain, you're grieving.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it even worse, if you don't have the financial allocation out there, and insurance policy, you got some stuff out there, policies out there, they're pretty inexpensive, you know,
Yeah.
if you get. So that can take stress out of your life too. And then
Right.
too, you probably can have money in there not only to take care of the funeral expenses, but then
Continue to live.
can continue to live and then
Mhm.
maybe can do some other things with it as well. That's legacy building. That's wealth management from that standpoint, you know. I try to encourage people to get life insurance once again when you're young.
Yep.
Get it ever when you can get it. However, the younger you get, the less expensive it's going to be.
Right.
And then also, people don't realize if you get, let me go back up a little bit too.
Okay.
Talking about term insurance versus whole life and universal life.
Right.
I've been at different seminars where people are doing presentations. They'll use an analogy. They say universal life and whole life, those kind of insurance policies,
Mhm.
like buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say term is like renting a house. I don't like that. I say term is like lease to buy.
Mm.
It's like lease to buy. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think when people say that, make that a statement, not everybody, once again, they're thinking from their standpoint. But with a term policy, people don't realize it. It's pretty inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you get that, I'm just going to throw a number out there.
Okay.
You get a $500,000 policy
Mm-hmm.
for term.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, you can convert it over. So if you got 500,000, you eventually maybe can convert over to universal life or whole life policy or something like that. Later
With no medical questions?
no medical questions. And that's the beauty of it too. Because if you get a term policy now, say I use myself as an example.
Okay.
A few years ago, I got it converted one over one I had
Mm-hmm.
since I was 32.
Mm-hmm.
It's based off, I still have good health, thank goodness. But say, for instance, my health wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
They base it off your health when you were when you had that policy at that time. So
Wow, Chris.
if somebody has cancer,
They can't hold that
they
against
can't hold it against. They base it off your
where you were at the
that
time you got the policy.
If your eye was falling out, your foot's got to come off, you got
Wow.
diabetes, you had a heart, none of that matters. So as we get older and time progresses, as we know, propensity for another P word, propensity. That's the propensity for something to happen, like you say, ailments and health issues can arise. Whether it be another P word, sometimes with prostate cancer. My father had prostate cancer, and everything, and just different types of cancers and stuff that are out there. If you had that policy prior to that, it's not a problem when you trying to convert it over. So that's the key right there, just to get it when you're younger, if possible, but get it whenever you can. I don't care if you're 59, 69 now, still you need to see what's out there for you to see what you can get to help out your family and yourself as well.
So as we close out, Chris, like I really want you to look at the camera and share with the viewers what's on your heart at this moment, and what do you encourage those people that's going to watch this podcast? What should be steps for them?
Steps for them. I said, first of all, I said live your life to the fullest, like tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Right.
First and foremost.
Right.
And live your life. Here's another P word, boy, purpose.
Whoa.
I'm full of P words today. Live with purpose, because I love life more than anything with itself, because this opportunity have been presented to me, and
another P word.
Yeah, another P word. And I'm just excited from that standpoint too, because my family, my wife, my children, my extended family, my friends, like family, I've been blessed for all these different things. I mean, everybody said some rough patches in life, so I'm talking about all the good things that have happened. I've had financial difficulties back in the past, and everything. When I do seminars, I use myself as an example. You've been to my seminar where I talk about there's nothing wrong with being ignorant. There's something wrong with being stupid. And I do financial literacy classes, and I use myself as an example because I learned financial literacy from my parents, my grandparents, great-grandparents. So I was stupid. I was told the stove was hot. I got burned to touch it, and I got burned again. That was stupidity. So I use myself as an example to kind of break the ice, to let them know what the difference is, so not to because people see where I am now, not where I
Well,
come from.
they relate to your personal story.
Yeah, personal story. And plus, people always say, man, you know, you're doing extremely well. But I've had struggle like people back in the day. When I first moved here out of college, the term using riding dirty with no insurance.
I was waiting for that word to come up. Yep.
Riding dirty. So I was that guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I keep things in mind when I'm talking to customers. And I instill that with my staff. They understand that too.
Right.
Because some people look at people from the lens of where they are now, especially if they're doing successful.
Right.
I remember where I was and where I came from and where I'm trying to go.
Right.
And so when I have these conversations with people, I'm cognizant of that, you know, to make sure that I understand, you know, like, so I'm gonna give you what you need, but we're gonna kind of work to find out the best avenue to help you out
ongoing.
Ongoing from a financial standpoint.
Well, I got 2 P's for you. It pays to know the 𝐼 Allstate agency. And once you do, you will be profitable, whether it's from a mental standpoint or from a monetary standpoint, in the event that something happens that we didn't see or predicted, therapy work, to happen. So with that being said, this is what Catch the Vision is all about. Everyday people doing extraordinary things with purpose and precision. 𝐼 reminded us that insurance isn't just about policy, it's about people. P, protection, P, and passing something on, therapy. Yeah. So if you're listening today, you've been wondering how to turn your skills into something meaningful, take notes from Chris. Start with service, build with integrity, and invest in your legacy today so that the next generation won't have to start from zero. Until the next time, catch the vision, catch the vision, catch the vision.